On this computer.
Yeah.
All right. We're live. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the first interview on the Thinking Project. Very excited for this guest today. With all the craziness that has been going on with the coronavirus, with COVID-19 and everything being shut down, emotional health and physical health is the most important thing, right? So I'm here with Jason Laporte, who I've known for a while. He owner of two companies, Semper Fit Nutrition, which is where he gets to help everyday people like you and me with nutrition and exercise tips and tricks, consulting. He also owns Damage Plan Athletics, where they have a really big Facebook following, Damage Plan MMA, and then also where they sponsor local MMA events and fighters and things like that, along with dropping a sweet clothing line. I still love my hat, by the way.
Sweet.
And if that wasn't enough, he is a United States Marine Corps veteran.
Hoorah.
That's right, baby. So that's it. So, you've been following the news. The gyms are opening back up a little bit.
I'm super excited about that. I cannot wait. I'm literally counting down the hours.
Right. So there's some special restrictions and stuff like that. What have you heard, and how is that going to affect you guys, and what are you doing?
So as far as the gym, so what I do is I actually work, I rent a booth, basically a booth space out of a gym, which it's called Dialed In Fitness. It's in Sandy, Utah. It's a little, it's a private owned, husband and wife own it. They've owned it for almost 10 years now. So I rent a booth space on there. As far as from what I've heard is they're allowing a certain number of people per square foot of the gym. So if you have per 100 square feet, there's like one per one or two people, or I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but for our gym, I don't really think it's going to affect too much. We have a big enough space that I think the most people we could have in the gym at one time would be like 85 people. Okay. And I've been there for 2 years, and I don't think we've ever had 85 people in the gym at one time.
Yeah.
Now, will they be closer in proximity? Could they be closer in proximity during peak hours? That could be an issue, but sure. I know that the owner has stopped. He's not going to have any group classes. So there's some trainers that'll do, I've done boot camp classes before there, where they're not going to have any of that stuff going on. So, and they'll unplug every other piece of cardio equipment.
Yeah. Which I think isn't a bad idea. Like, I got an email from my jiu-jitsu gym, and they were kind of going over the same stuff, right? So you're going to have groups. So you train in like groups, and that group only goes on these days and at these times, just to help if somebody gets sick in that group, then they don't have to shut the whole gym down, right?
Yeah.
So I've kind of heard that kind of stuff, but it's nice that it's finally opening up.
Yeah, I think people are starting to go crazy. I think a lot of people, with me personally, my opinion, and this is just my opinion on this, so right. I hope we don't get a bunch of backlash on it. But I think everybody's watching the media, and they're getting a little too, they're really getting into the numbers when we really don't know,
Yeah.
We really don't know. So you'll have one day, you'll have people say, well, there's not that many deaths versus how many people have, had the disease and now they're fine.
Right.
And then the next day it's like, oh my gosh, where hospitals are overflowing with people. And you don't know what to believe. And I think a lot of people are just saying, it's not really affecting me, or and especially in Utah, it's not really affected us.
Yeah.
Numbers wise.
Right. No, I'm with you on that. I think we've definitely gotten blessed in Utah to kind of miss the curve. And I'm with you on that, because it's tough to see everybody so kind of divided, right? With, do you go out? Do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? And I think that being safe is good, but shutting down a whole economy, you don't walk away from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially for small business owners, right?
Yeah.
So you're cutting off. I mean, I talked about this earlier, like in my first podcast, and I've kind of always said this, that 99% of the businesses in America are small businesses.
Yeah.
They employ over 50% of the people. Like, I don't know if you have employees, but except for maybe you and your wife or something like that, but that's it, right? That's the livelihood.
Yeah, I can't even, I luckily, I mean, even though it affected me from going into the gym and consulting with my clients one-on-one, because
Sure.
most of my clients will come in and meet with me and it's like a, it's like a
Yeah.
therapy session
Right. Right.
basically.
Right. That's
But
good though.
I'm able to take that and do it online, and I can do Zoom appointments or I can do email check-ins. So I can still kind of carry on with what I was doing. Now it does hinder me from potentially picking up new clients because
Right.
maybe somebody lost their job and they don't have money and they can't work out, or
Sure.
food shortages. So I get some issues, but yeah, it definitely affected it that way. But for the most part, it's kind of business as usual.
Yeah. Now you guys run a podcast, and do
Yes.
you talk about that? Do you give like the tips and tricks on your podcast to help the people who might not be able to pay for you right now, but bringing that value with them? Like, how do you bring value to your customers during these like hard times?
So right now it's all accountability at
Yeah.
this point. It's having that person to reach out, and I've had a lot of clients that have wanted to put this on hold, put their programs on hold until
Right.
gyms open up, and I just can't stress to them enough that there's still things that you can do,
Yeah.
hey, you might not be having the results that you want now because exercise output is lower, but you can still eat right and you can still do body weight exercises. You can still get sun,
Yeah.
but having somebody like myself or a coach, or mentor, or whatever it may be, checking
Mhm.
in once or twice a week. Hey, how you doing? Sometimes that kind of it relights the fire,
Right.
and hey, I'm guilty of it too. As soon as all this stuff came down, then there's no gym. I just kind of said, forget it. I didn't want to do anything.
Well, I think
And
we all did.
yeah.
I think we all did.
But here I am trying to preach to my clients,
Yeah.
hey, you got to stay with it, and
Yeah. 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 For real.
it's tough, but that's
But
why I do
yeah.
what I do.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, I think that it's also important for the mental part. I mentioned that in the beginning that for me, when I hear that's why when we do these small business interviews, I like the whys, right? And
Yeah,
for fitness, I know a huge why is mental and emotional health.
huge.
How have you seen that with your clients and with the people around?
Well, I can tell you right now, with just a lot of the people, I do bodybuilding competitions. It's been a couple years since I've competed, but there was a lot of people that come into my gym that we're all with the same coach, that were getting ready to compete literally a week before everything shut down. And watching these people and just seeing them going through, you can see how mentally devastating. You work for something for 6 months, every day in, day out, eating right,
Right,
exercising,
right.
cardio, putting family work, putting things on hold to get to this point, and then to have somebody pull the rug up from underneath them and say, oh,
Absolutely.
we're not competing. So it's tough. A lot of some of these people were, and I'm not saying anybody's names, but I'm just throwing out
Right.
scenarios that some of these people are, former drug addicts or former alcoholics,
Yeah.
that's their outlet, is the
Yeah.
gym is their outlet. The gym is what's keeping them going and pushing them along. And that goes for everyday people. It goes for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's my thing, that's what I do.
Right. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because I think it's super important for people to realize that too. Like, it's not just about, more than just small businesses, getting their revenue or whatever, right? It's
Yes.
about it's about the people that we serve, because that's why it's so amazing to me. People start small businesses and it's because they have a passion for something, right? And I
Yes.
love that you brought up the whole addiction side of things, because I think, first of all, I think that everybody's addicted to something. Like,
Oh,
if you look
yeah.
at the definition of addiction, right?
Yes.
Severely more, like, one of my favorite guys to listen to on that, like, is Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Um, and he goes, whether you're addicted to chocolate or to drugs or whatever, right? We all have to work through the same 12 steps. And he even goes as far as to say sometimes, like, Russell Brand says this, that like the people who have outward drug problems are almost the lucky ones, because they know exactly what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
But the people who like are addicted to shopping or eating or something like that, like, those are culturally acceptable.
Yeah.
Our consumerism has made it acceptable to, like, I need something new, so I'll
Yeah.
just go on Amazon and buy it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
uh so it's nuts, man. And I'm glad that there are gyms out there and people out there who coach people, especially through these hard times, man.
Yeah. And I think with everything that's going on, you see a lot of people. Look, we all know you can do body weight exercises. I could get out in my front yard and do burpees and push-ups and sit-ups. But the reality of it is we're creatures of habit, and you're used to a certain thing, but then you throw on top of the stress of, maybe you just lost your job. Maybe your hours got cut, you're staying at home all day with the kids and they're driving you nuts. And it's just a super stressful situation to be in, I think, for a lot of people. And, I can't stress the importance of that exercise enough.
Yeah.
But I also get it because I go through it myself. I fight those same battles where it's like, well, gym's not open today. I'm not going to do anything, and it's like, no, right. I can still do it. I can still do something.
And that's, I think, one of the things that I learned, even through meeting fitness instructors and coaches and going through my own coaching and my own training, is the people who are really good, like it's not that they never have off days or they never have those feelings, right? But consistency.
Exactly.
Consistency. If you miss, you just got to start over.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's just, there's nothing, I preach that to my clients. I swear every meeting it's something, because they'll say, hey, I had a bad day or I had a bad weekend. Okay. Well, then let's get right back started on a Monday. It's not the weekend that's going to derail. It's not the weekend that's making you fat. It's every weekend that you're doing, drinking and, eating like crap. That's what's making you fat. It's not that one day. It's the compound of days.
I'm with you on that. And it's so funny too. It's that negative feedback loop, right? The feedback loop from hell. Like once you start, I miss, so I don't feel worthy, so now I miss again, and now I can't do it, and now I miss, and it's too late now, right? And so you just keep going in the circle. That's why I hate New Year's resolutions.
Oh yeah,
yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, I heard you like that. I saw your face.
I do think it's good. I think it's good for people to set goals and have those goals, but I think, especially when it comes to fitness, I believe people need to get out of this thinking that this is a short-term thing. Yeah. This isn't a 12-week challenge or a 6-week challenge. Sure, they can be good, and they can definitely get things jump-started and getting you into a better routine. But overall, you have to think past that. You have to think past those 6 weeks. And I tell my clients this all the time, and I like to kind of put the responsibility back on them. So yes, they're hiring me to coach them, right? Like they're hiring me to write their meal plans, to do their workouts, to do their cardio regimens. Mm-hmm. But I can't make that person do it. So when a person comes into me and they say, okay, I want to eat the cleanest foods that I can eat, I want to lose the weight the fastest. Well, there's more to it than that. Like I'm going to give you the foods that you're going to eat, not the foods that I want you to eat, the foods that Dalton's going to eat. You may say, I don't like chicken, so why would I put chicken on your diet if I know you're not going to eat chicken? Like it's, or the client that says, I'll say, how many days a week are you willing to dedicate to working out? And I'll get clients who'll say, how many do I need to work out? You tell me. I'll work out 6 days a week. And my response back is, I want you to work out whatever you're going to continue to do after you're done working with me. Mm-hmm. So if it's only 3 days a week, then we're going to build this program off of you working out 3 days a week, not 6 days a week. So that when you're done working with me, you go back to 3 days a week, and then you end up putting on a little bit of weight, which is normal. Exercise output goes down, food intake goes up. You're normally going to put on a little bit of extra weight. Sure. If you're consistent with that, if you're consistent with that exercise output, if you're consistent with your diet, you'll notice things continuing to change. Right. So I want my clients to take the responsibility upon themselves to say, hey, this is what I'm willing to do. Now it's my job to put that all together with my experience and say, this is going to be the best. This is going to be the path we're starting on, but that doesn't mean it's not going to change. It could change tomorrow, but yeah, I kind of got off track a little bit on the New Year's resolution things, but no,
that's the point though. right? Is every day you got to make the same goals, and they
Yep.
got to be the realistic goals. And you don't wait till New Year's, and you don't wait till Monday, right?
I think that's why I feel the accountability is so important.
Yeah,
And having a coach and having a mentor, it's like, look, I'm not reinventing the wheel with what I'm telling people to do. Like,
absolutely.
nutrition is ever evolving. Like, it's constantly changing, but the basics are there. You eat your lean meats, your fruits, your veggies,
Mm-hmm.
your complex carbs. You put all that stuff together, but having someone to say, hey, this is what you need to do. It's kind of like being in the military, you know what I mean? Almost kind of like that. It's like you need someone to say, no, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do it, because people don't know. We talked about this on the podcast we recorded the other day. We did a nutrition podcast to help with the fighters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that we talked about is having people, having that accountability.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having somebody to, I might give somebody a meal plan, but what I'm not changing things unless I'm getting feedback from that person. So just because you have a good week and I say, okay, Dalton, how was your week? How did you feel? How was your energy levels? Results were good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I need to change anything on your diet. Or, you may say, hey, I don't like eating this, and we may swap something out. But I had a client, and we won't call it any names, but he was weighing himself every day, and he texts me and he says, hey, I want to pull out my starch at night. I don't want to eat my starch at night. And I said, why? And he says, well, I weighed myself the last 3 days and there's no changes. It takes more than that. I'm like, I mean, there's a certain point where we need to get to, and 3 days isn't enough data to make any changes.
No. Hey, that's why we got totally lost in the instant gratification world.
Oh, for sure.
You don't lose love handles in 3 days, man.
No.
It didn't take 3 days to get them.
But that's what's promoted though in the fitness industry is that quick, you see people doing these, fit teas and detox teas and wraps. And it's like, all that crap is temporary.
Right. So let me ask you a question, because this is something that I've actually kind of been talking about, and I feel like it can apply into other areas of life. So what do you tell your clients about their why? Like, because here's my thing. If you're going to find a coach and you're going to pay for a gym and you're going to pay for a mentor, or you're not going to pay, you're going to pay either in money or in time.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than, like, your why has to be more than losing weight, right? Like, I heard this once from a friend of mine a long time ago, that diets die.
Yes.
That it's got to be like a lifestyle change, right?
It's got to be a lifestyle change.
You can't, do you tell your clients that? Like, you can't go into it thinking you're going to lose a lot of weight. You just got to be like a lifestyle thing.
Well, I mean, I want to try to educate them the best I can. It's super hard because there's so many things, social media, everywhere they go, social media is throwing out, all these trainers are posting pictures with their shirts off and girls with their butts out. And it's hard not to compare yourself to other people. I mean, a lot of people will say, hey, I'm not comparing myself, but let's face it, we all do it, maybe in different ways. But, when I'm competing and I'm getting ready to compete, I almost have to turn off my social media, because I'll look on Instagram and I'll see guys that I know that are doing the show. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to compete against this guy. But really, everybody's putting their best pictures on Instagram. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
How many girls post a picture of themselves in bed first thing in the morning with no makeup on? You don't see it. Like, they want to show the picture where they're all dolled up and, or the guy with his 6-pack showing his abs.
Right.
And it can be intimidating. If you're a guy that's, let's just say a guy or a gal that's overweight, it can be intimidating to go to a trainer that is promoting that. You know what I mean? You're looking at that person. If I'm a guy in my 40s, I might look at this other guy and say, I'm never going to look like that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why would I want to go to him when it's
And
even though I compete and I like to be healthy, I don't try to push my lifestyle onto my clients. I can't tell my clients to say, hey, you need to work out how I work out, or you need to eat how I eat. I try to find out what their why is, why they're doing this, and then try to kind of educate them on nutrition so that they can continue on with doing this even after they're done with me. That's my whole,
because that's the point.
Yeah. And that's I'm like, I want you to be able to say after you're done, you can say, hey, I don't need Jason to write my meal plan. I just need this accountability. It's kind of, it's like me having my coach for bodybuilding. It's like, look, granted, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this a lot longer than I do, but I have the basics down. I know what I need to do to get myself to a certain point, but I pay my coach because mentally, I get halfway through there. I start having, my mind starts going crazy. Well, what should I do with this? Or how should I change that? Or am I working out too much? It's like you're paying him to be your therapist almost.
Yeah, seriously.
Him or her to be your therapist,
Well, and that's, I like that you said that, because there's a big part of fitness and working out that's mental and emotional.
Oh yeah.
It just has to be. And so that's the thing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how many people do you see, and I see it all the time because I'm in the gym, that are afraid to even go in the gym because they're intimidated by the way other people look, or if maybe somebody's staring at them a certain way, and they're scared to do that. And
heck yeah,
I'd be willing to bet, now there's assholes everywhere. Like, you're always going to get jerks, but I'd be willing to bet that 99.9% of the people at the gym would probably help anybody out if they asked for it. Sure. Nobody's judging. We could care less. I could care less.
Right. Well, because that's the majority of, so you buy, the typical American goes and buys a Vasa membership.
Yep.
Because they think it's the best one. I hate Vasa, by the way.
It's dirty.
So, but they'll go spend like $10, $15 a month on Vasa. Then they never use it.
Yeah.
By the way, which is how Vasa makes money. Because if you win every day, Vasa would lose money, right? So you go there, right? Then they end up not going. And then they think it was a waste of time and a waste of money. But you never went in, right? And you let all these things ahead of you because your only reason to go to the gym was New Year's resolution, or I needed to lose weight, or my buddy wanted to go. Eventually you have to do the gym because you got to do the gym. Because
you want to do it. You want to be healthy.
Yeah. I got to do something, right?
And
something's not working and I have to change it.
Hey, it doesn't even need to be at the gym. I've had clients that have been successful just with some bands at home,
Why not?
People that travel a lot and that can't get into gyms. Like, it can be done. It's just,
right.
What are you willing to put into it, I guess, is usually the question I have to answer. 100%. Ask.
What do you think? So I like talking about like in-home workouts. I've gotten into, and jiu-jitsu is big with like kettlebells.
Oh, is that a big thing with jiu-jitsu?
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, they're great workouts. They're great.
Yeah. It's a versatile workout.
Super versatile.
You can have one at home.
Yeah.
They're fun. You move around a lot.
I was listening to a podcast and I can't remember. I think it was Jocko's podcast or somebody's podcast. There was a Gracie. Do you know Gracie has an online jiu-jitsu that you can go from white belt to black belt all online.
At home.
At home.
Like, there are videos,
I was trying to tell my wife and she's like, you're stupid. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I kind of want to do this. No,
you can do it.
But they said it takes 10 years to get if you did it from white to black, it would take you at least 10 years to get there. Now, I don't know. You know more about this because that's your world. But
so that's the thing. That's why no one likes jiu-jitsu.
Because it takes so long to get. There's no instant gratification.
If you see a guy, if you go into a gym into a grappling gym and a guy puts his gi on and he whips out a black belt and it's even got 1 or 2 stripes on it, that's 15, 20 years of jiu-jitsu and consistent, because they'll stop the clock if you don't show up.
Interesting.
The quickest times, so white belt to blue belt's about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Then the longest time is blue to purple. Purple to brown is a pretty quick one. And then brown to black is forever. And then those stripes on a black belt are time stripes. They're not experience or like moves or like,
Yeah, that was my question. I never knew what that meant, honestly.
yeah, or like competitions. It's not like I tapped out 10 people or I won 10 matches or whatever, right? One stripe on there is 5 years, and then it goes up to 10 years.
Wow.
If you see somebody with a black belt and they have any stripes on their belt, you're looking at a guy who's been doing it consistently for 20 years. And that's why people don't like it. You know, you can get a blue belt and know the basics.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a badass, you're in it. You got to be in it for 15, 20 years, man.
Yeah. That's some dedication. It's some
nuts.
How long have you been doing it?
So I've been doing it for about a year and a half. In fact, before
you're a blue belt?
Before the coronavirus happened, I was going to test.
Really?
For my blue belt. Yeah. Because in that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, so I love the Gracie Academy. There's one here in Salt Lake. But they don't let you even roll with another person for a year. Like
really?
If you went fresh in there,
yeah,
they go through what's called their Gracie combatives, which is awesome. It's self-defense. Because that's what the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was originally formed by the Gracie brothers for just self-defense.
Yeah.
And so the first year you go into a Gracie Academy, you just learn self-defense. You learn how to get off your back, and when someone has you in full mount, you learn how to defend yourself if you land in someone's guard. And so it's really cool, actually, learning some of their techniques. I taught my daughter them. They have what's called a women empowerment class, and I think it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it's the same thing with fitness or jiu-jitsu or anything.
Yeah.
You're not, you don't go in there and think it's, the people who start jiu-jitsu or the people who start fitness, wanting to be, 80 pounds or whatever, right? They have a weight goal. Gosh, man, I don't see a lot of them finish it.
I would say this statistically most people don't follow through with it. I think I think a lot of it is some people they get bad taste in their mouth. Maybe they get a bad coach. Because there is a lot of bad coaches out there. There's a lot of coaches that are preaching stuff that shouldn't be, and this is just my opinion, but if you get a coach that's telling you not to eat certain types of foods and, really restricting you and to get you to your goal, that's not a good coach. I mean, I've had to tell people, look, I'm not going to just tell you what you want to hear each week. I'm going to tell you what is right, and educate you on doing this, not just say, hey, you're going to lose weight every week. Like, no, it doesn't happen that way. Like initially the majority of the people that start something will lose weight for those first couple of weeks. I've had people gain weight the first week, but that's just how the body responds. It's like
and everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Stress levels, sleep patterns. There's so many things that factor into it. So just like the guy that says, hey, I want to take my starch out because I haven't done anything and nothing has moved in 3 days. Well, you have to burn 3,500 calories to lose a pound of fat. It doesn't happen overnight. Like it's a process.
Yeah. You got to be in it for the long haul. You got to change your mindset. Right. And that's hard to change people's minds.
Super hard when we're instant gratification,
Amazon
you don't
2-day Prime.
Yeah. You don't have your meals. If I'm meal prepping and I don't have meals when I head off to work, then I'm probably going to fast food, like when I was up there selling cars, if I didn't bring my food and put it in the fridge, I would go get fast food.
Right.
Because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Your body has that fight or flight. When it wants to eat, it's going to tell you it wants to eat.
Well, yeah. And that's what you got to fight, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily fight it, but it just takes time. It just takes time. So how did you get into the fitness gig? What happened with you? You were in the military, and then did you come out and just go right into owning your own business in fitness?
No, actually, I went in the Marine Corps when I was 19. I did my 4-year thing. I actually got out and got into the car business. And I did, I was selling, wholesaling. I was actually in the car business for about 10 years,
Okay.
ended up getting out of the car business. And then shortly, and this is 9 years ago,
Sure.
I ended up signing up with a coach because I wanted to compete. I had always had an interest in lifting weights, and I was always active. I played basketball, I played softball, and I lifted 5-6 days a week, but I never put it together, the nutrition with the training. It never stuck. I was the guy that was getting on bodybuilding.com, printing out diets, or, asking my buddy at the gym, hey, what are you eating today? But this is when the bodybuilding, and I do men's physique division, which is I wear board shorts.
Yeah.
This is kind of when I got started. That's when that was kind of initially coming in onto the scene in the bodybuilding world.
Right.
So I thought, oh, this is perfect for me. I'm almost 35 years old. This will be, I'm not going to be a bodybuilder. I'm not 300 pounds, or, you know what I mean? Like, but that kind of fit with what I was wanting to do. It's kind of that Men's Health magazine look.
Mm.
So I get signed up with my coach, and I did a 6-month program. About halfway through, he's like, hey, do you want to be a consultant for me? I was like, I'd actually love to help people out. This is good. And it's sales too. You're selling people a program basically.
Right.
And in the beginning, I had no freaking clue, but I love the coaching aspect. I loved helping people out, seeing people, go from point A to point B and watching them achieve their goals. I mean, it's just super satisfying.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years, I just said, why am I giving this guy, 50, 60% of my take when I could just start my own thing and keep everything?
Like, yeah, why not, man?
And I think a lot of people end up doing that. Same thing. I think you see that in the car business too. You see guys selling cars for a year, and they're like, why am I giving, Honda or Toyota all my money when I could be doing it all myself? Which sometimes it's easier to just let them deal with all that stuff.
Well, I think your fitness analogy was perfect. It's tough to run your own car business though, man.
I thought about doing it. That was kind of a dream of mine, was to open up my own little lot, just a little,
mom and
10, 15 cars, mom and pop store. But man, it's a tough gig.
Well, it's a lot of overhead, man.
Yeah.
Most of those
flooring.
Most of those guys don't, they either floor their cars or they pay cash for them. And either way, it's just a gamble.
Well, and people, when they're buying these cars, they obviously, I want to buy the cheapest car, but you don't realize what that person's, just because somebody buys a car for $5,000 at the auction, they're probably in that car $6,500 by the time it goes through the auction, paying auction fees, paying for the inspection, paying for transportation, flooring cost.
Yeah.
Then you get it to your lot, detail, running it to your shop. So how's that guy supposed to make, you know what I mean? That guy's it's hard for that guy to make money, especially if you have a lot of overhead.
Very small. Yep. Very small margins. So I think you went with a good avenue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I love the consulting businesses are pretty lucrative. Not a lot of overhead. Service in Utah, you don't have to pay taxes on services.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to worry about getting a tax number or filing taxes quarterly with the state. That's just a nut. I'm an accountant. That's what I do, and it's not fun, even for accountants, right? But you did get into the merchandising side of it. You sell like your clothes and everything.
I did. I got that. My apparel company is Damage Plan Athletics.
Yeah. So, so tell us about how everybody wants to sell clothes, but the supply chain for that and like logistically that can be kind of tough. So how did you navigate through all that? Had you ever done it before? Did you have like somebody you could lean on, or how did you do that?
My wife actually was in the apparel business when we met. She was working for a company that did screen printing and embroidery and all that stuff. So the appeal when I bought the company was, hey, she can kind of help me with all the back end stuff, and then I can kind of be like the face of it. And we bit off a little bit more than we could chew when we bought the company. Not knowing everything that
Well, that's tough though. That's what small business is though, right? You have a vision and then you kind of just commit and you learn as you go.
Yeah. And it really has. I mean, we've had the company for 2 years, and I just brought on Zach, who I do my podcast with, to help me, because just having somebody it's like a mentor, having somebody to bounce ideas off of. And
right.
I mean, once things start cranking back up again and we start getting local fights coming back in, we have a lot.
Gosh. Hey, I went to a steel fist fight.
Yes.
It was my, Oh, that's where I bought my hat.
Was your first one? That was your first one you've been to, right?
First one. I bought a hat.
You did. I remember. Thank you.
And absolutely, I love supporting small business.
So you came there to see Justin, right? Horsley.
So I know Justin Horsley.
He's coming on the podcast next week.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna listen to that one because
they opened up a gym, right?
Yeah, up in Idaho.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I knew Justin. I knew Justin back when he was a wrestler in high school, and then I knew him when he wrestled at Dixie.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dixie had a. I think it was a club team at Dixie, but because I think the only school in Utah that does like has a wrestling program right now currently is Utah Valley. And one of their coaches, their heavyweight coach, Luke Lofthouse, he wrestled at Iowa. And I knew Luke Lofthouse back when he wrestled in Iowa. And so those guys up there, Luke Lofthouse is a beast. He wrestled at like 190, 195.
Oh, that's a big dude.
In Iowa.
Whoa.
These guys were monsters. So I went to the steel fist fight, though. That was a lot of fun, man.
Dude,
holy crap, that was fun.
I love going to those fights, man. I mean, I'm like, I feel bad for my wife because when we set up our booth, she's the one that's back there ringing up all the merch, and I'm just out there talking to everybody and taking pictures, and I'm like having fun. I go in the cage when one of our fighters wins, and take all the pictures. And
heck yeah,
there were some good fights that night too.
There were some really good fights that night. That heavyweight fight, that dude broke his
Zach Cavender,
that guy was awesome,
dude. That was his first fight at heavyweight.
That's a big jump, man. Those aren't little jumps when you
fight, man. Because he normally fights. I mean, he's a big guy anyways. Like you saw him there. He's 6'4", probably walks around at 220, 230.
Right.
But the guy he fought, Eric, who I'm actually friends with as well.
Yeah.
A little bit older. He's closer to my age, but dude's been fighting. He's a beat, man. He's no joke. Fighter. He's a savage too. You know.
Yeah.
I have never seen him, and in the years that I've been watching him fight, he's never lost like that. Like the guy could take a punch.
That was a bad loss. And I was just about to say that, man. When I was watching some of those fights, and I get it, they're local fights. So you're going to get the local guys.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just was like, man, some of those guys should have never signed whatever weight were they signed to get in that cage, man.
Well, did you listen to that podcast that we did with Kevin, the promoter of Steel Fist?
Yes.
So he had a great analogy on why he gets these amateur fighters in there, because of it's not only it's helping him. Yeah, it's helping him, but it's also helping that guy. You know, maybe he takes a loss, but now he's going to start looking at, hey, maybe I should join a gym. So now he's joining a gym. So now the gym's getting more business, and he's getting better. So then he comes back, and it's a cycle, you know?
Well, yeah. And I get that. You got to give somebody, sometimes you just got to give some of these little guys, or like not little guys, but the younger guys, you know, they just get too big for their britches, and sometimes they need a little humility.
We had another guy on the podcast, dude. He started off 0-6.
Yeah.
I remember freaking 6, like knocked out 5 out of 6, no gym. His first five fights, he had no gym. He was literally training in his basement. Jeez. And it finally clicked that, hey, he needs to get to a gym.
Yeah.
He ended up losing because he took a short notice fight, which you'll notice a lot of these gyms are starting to tell these guys, hey, you need to have a certain amount of time in the gym before we're going to even let you take a fight.
Well, you should.
Yeah. Well, gym that he's at now, he took that short notice fight, but they basically told him, you need a year of training before you're going to get back in there, in the cage again. And he just had his first kickboxing, got his first win in a kickboxing fight a couple months ago, right before the shutdown, and looked freaking amazing.
Yeah. Good.
I don't know if you listened to the other podcast where we did the interview with the guy from New York, the promoter from New York.
Yeah.
There's guys back there from some of those gyms. They're training for years.
Yeah. Well, and that's
3 to 5 years before they're even getting in the.
before you even like, it's a discussion.
Well, there's a guy that trains with Zach. He's a younger kid. He's 18 or 19. This kid is a freaking, you're going to see this kid on the big stage. I'm telling you right now, this kid's been training since he's 5 years old.
Good.
And the kid is a beast.
Wow.
A beast. Cole Faust. Remember the name, Cole.
Okay. Cole Faust.
The guy's, I'll have to send you, maybe I'll send you a link to one of his fights.
All right, deal.
You'll never, I mean, the way the kid comes in there,
yeah,
it looks like he's been doing it for 10 years.
That's what you should do, though. You shouldn't go into a fight. Like, if I were coaching a fighter, you would have a year, at least a year or two of wrestling.
Yeah.
You would be a blue belt in jiu-jitsu at least. And you would go through a year or two of boxing.
Yeah, there's
4 or 5 years, man, because
I compare it to like me getting ready to compete in bodybuilding. Look,
right.
I'm not going to get up there in a 12-week program.
No.
Could I? Yes. But am I going to be competitive? Hell no.
No.
I mean, it's going to take me.
But those.
Yeah, it takes years. It takes months to get up to,
right.
To get to that certain level. And yeah,
right.
I'm not getting in the cage anyways.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, me either. Like I said, I told you I did it one time and I was like, oh, this was fun,
just
but
not for you.
Yeah. It was fine. Like there's a guy who fights, he's a purple belt at our gym. He actually just opened up his own gym in Salt Lake, but I call him Sep. And he's a big old Polynesian man, and he's awesome. He's the kindest dude you'll ever meet, and he's the best trainer you ever meet. And that's what he said. He was like, dude, you're not gonna fight until you have these 4 or 5 things. But I would train with him. Like, he was gonna fight a couple times at some fights. I can't remember, but I remember going to his training events and helping him with like wrestling and takedown and stuff like that. So did I ever tell you that story? So this is how I got my first MMA fight.
No, I didn't hear this.
Here's the story. So I'm like 18. I'm in Iowa. I want to stay in shape. I'm coaching wrestling, but I want to stay in shape and like compete a little bit. So I go to this local MMA gym, and the pro fighter there has a fight with and I didn't know this when I went in, but he had a fight with a big wrestler, like an NCAA champion wrestler.
Yeah.
And so he didn't know me. I didn't know him. And it was, and this is the problem with these MMA gyms sometimes, is they throw you in too fast. So I went strikes versus takedowns with this guy. It was dumb. I should have never done that. But I was like 18. I was like, whatever, let's go.
Yeah.
So so we do strikes versus takedowns, and he's like, I go, okay, what's that? He's like, well, I'm going to strike you and you're going to try and take me down. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, I ended up taking him down like quite a few times, and there was nothing he could do to stop this takedown. So I got free MMA lessons. The guy said, if you teach me like how you do your takedowns and how you do like those defense, I will give you free MMA lessons.
Oh, all right.
So that's what I did. So then I taught a takedown and takedown defense class.
How did he do? How did he end up doing?
He actually did really good. He lost because he wasn't a boxer.
Yeah.
This is a really UFC. It's mixed martial arts, but it's a lot of stand up, man.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree.
A lot more stand up than people realize. Like, okay, if you're a good wrestler and you're a good jiu-jitsu guy, like that's fine. But you remember when Nate Diaz said that? He's like, oh, you jiu-jitsu mother need to learn how to box.
He has a point. Like, you really,
a point.
I mean, it starts on the feet. Like,
it's so true.
Look, I mean, obviously the game's evolved, but look at guys like Chuck Liddell that had good takedown defense, just knocking people out. I mean, if you can, I think if you can get that basic down, not saying it's going to work on everybody, but
no, but
I'd say a good 90% of your fights.
But you got to have the basics. Now the guy was really good at defending the takedown. Like I had taught him well enough. He just got knocked out. But that's okay.
I guess it happens, right?
Yeah. But anyway, so that's what happened. And I thought it was anyway, it was really fun because I love the steel fist fights. I love going to watch those guys. I love supporting that whole scene. How soon do you think they're going to open up now that we can open?
Man, I know Kevin was shooting for June, but he just posted something that somebody said for like MMA gyms and stuff. And I don't know how much truth there is in this, but they're saying possibly not till October.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's
So
dumb.
I think for the MMA stuff, it was MMA gyms that post said it was, they were on the second phase. Like we're basically on phase 1. They're supposed to be at the end of phase 2. I'm hoping it's not true. Like,
yeah, well, I don't know how true that is because like we're opening.
I can't see. I mean, I could see them not having fights because they don't want the crowd there.
Sure.
That's going to be the issue is getting them to have the fights at a bar where you have 1,000 people packed in there. I think that's going to be the, with the paranoia.
Hey, yeah. But let me tell you something cool though. I like that whole, they did that UFC fight.
Yeah.
And nobody was there.
It was awesome.
And I want to see like, this is weird. This is my analytical, like accounting side coming out of me. But I want to see a study where they do, they have these UFC fights with fans and the fans are normal. They're cheering, they're booing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have, you could never do this, like, or maybe you could, and maybe somebody's going to listen to this and figure out how to do it. Then you take the same fight without the fans.
Yeah.
And without all that emotion, because that's emotional, right? That's why I love rivalries.
Yeah.
Is because it doesn't matter. You could be ranked number 1 and your rival could be ranked last. And if you hate each other enough, that guy can win.
Yep. That's,
I mean?
Yep.
And another thing that you get that energy from the fans. Like if you get a big hit and that crowd erupts, like I did, I wrestled in front of big crowds like that. And if you got a takedown and the crowd was on your side and they just lost their minds.
Yeah.
That dude's feeling it and I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, for sure.
So what happens when that doesn't happen? What happens when you get a big hit and it's still silent?
Yeah. I guess we're going to find out May 9th.
Heck yeah.
Dude, we got 3 fight cards.
Good.
In 1 week.
Good.
Did you see the main event for the other 2?
I haven't yet.
One of them is Anthony Smith and Glover Teixeira. I think.
Good. I love Anthony Smith.
That's on the 13th, and then if the 16th is supposed to be Overeem and Walt Harris.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. They haven't announced the rest of the cards for those 2 dates, but
sure.
Dude, we got 3 fights in 1 week.
That's amazing, though.
Yes,
that's amazing, though. So, well, that's I mean, because that's how you do it. And so what I'm hearing is the MMA world in Utah might not be up for a while. Might not be up for a minute.
I'm crossing my fingers that that's fake news, but from everything I'm seeing, like even on the media, I just can't see them having it.
Because
with a group of people. Now, if they had a place where they could go and maybe set it up like the UFC and there's no fans there, but an amateur fight promotion couldn't do that because the majority of their profits ticket sales. Yeah. So they're just it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, it's tough. It's way tough, man. I just hope they figure it out. I just hope we get this all figured out, man. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, man.
Because it's got to start. So let me go back just one thing that I thought was cool because you said you bought Damage Plan Athletics. You bought the apparel company.
Correct.
You can't drop names, but you bought it from someone else. You acquired it.
It's actually been through 2 owners. So there was originally started, I can't remember how many years ago. They originally started it. And then there's two guys that I bought it from purchased it and they had it for, I don't know, 2 years, year and a half.
Okay. So tell us about the acquisition process. Cause there's going to be some people listening.
Yeah.
Who maybe you don't want to start your own business. Maybe you want to buy your own business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that acquisition process is tough, especially if you're going for a lot of money.
It was super tough for me. I mean, I knew the guys because they actually approached me and they sponsored me for a bodybuilding show that I had done.
Okay.
And I had known a couple of the fighters that they sponsored. So when I found out it was up for sale, I'm like, I want to buy the company. Like, I think this would be great. I love MMA. My wife knows the back end of it. So logistically, once, I didn't know where to begin. Like, I had no clue where to begin to buy this company. So I actually, I got with the guy that was in my BNI group that I was in, a networking group that I was in, that was his thing. He bought and sold businesses. So I actually got off kind of easy because I basically just gave him all the information and said, here's all the numbers. Here's everything that I'm getting. Give me your honest opinion on what you,
so he valued the company.
He basically valued the company and said, it seems like it's,
he said, you need, based on their revenue and their liabilities and their debts, like, you need to pay X for the company.
Yep. Okay. Which, if I had a chance to do it all over again, I probably would have started it from scratch.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, I like the name. The name was appealing to me. Damage Plan Athletics. That was the appealing part. Cause I looked at it and I thought, man, at first we tried to keep it to where Damage Plan Athletics was sponsoring any athlete. We were sponsoring powerlifters. We were sponsoring bass fishermen. After about a year, I kind of shifted it more towards just MMA, saying, I want to just focus on MMA and the MMA community in Utah and make it grow from there, because I was putting out too many branches, and it was just too overwhelming to try to, you know what I mean? So I figured,
to manage all those. Yeah. You got to focus in. Small businesses have to focus in on one niche.
But definitely, I think in hindsight and looking back at it, if I had to start over again, I probably would have just started from scratch.
So when you bought Damage Plan Athletics, did you, part of their assets was the name?
The name, yep.
So you had some goodwill in there. And then did you acquire like customers?
Yes, because part of what we do for the company is not only do I retail, I'm also on the wholesale side of things too, where I can do screen printing, embroidery. So if you have a company out there that's wants, 20 shirts made for your company, I can take care of that for you.
So you're not only a retailer, you're a wholesaler.
Wholesale. Yeah. Yep. That's so nuts, that was another huge part of the reason why we wanted it, because my wife had,
that's a big deal.
Yeah. She had experience doing that.
Holy cow.
And like I said, I kind of bit off a little bit more than I can chew, because
that's a lot. That's a lot.
I leaned on her when she had a full-time job, and it was like, so a lot of it was me learning on the fly, calling vendors and, building relationships with people that I'm going to be dealing with. But now I kind of get it. It's just, keeping that ball rolling is the hard part.
Well, I didn't realize that you were also a wholesaler, and so a wholesaler, retailer, you acquired the company. That's a big process. That's not the same as starting up a business from scratch.
Yeah. So the company is, I'm definitely not, I'm not making a living off of having this company.
I got you.
The profit side of that company is really coming from the wholesale side of things.
Well, yeah, you make way more money in wholesale.
Yeah. I mean, the retail side of things, the name's not out there yet.
I think
the podcast is gonna help a lot once things start 100%. Picking back up.
Dude, free advertising.
Yeah,
that's
free
what
advertising.
A podcast is.
And we have a couple fighters that we have that I sponsor that are. They could go next level if they're staying with it. They're young. They're super good.
That's cool.
So, and we may even get Zach and I. I don't know if I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, but we're going to start getting into the managing side of it.
Good.
We want to take fighter A that maybe he's a 19, 20-year-old kid that doesn't really know how to sell tickets and doesn't know how to get sponsors. And we're going to bring that kid on, and we don't expect it to be, we're not going to expect to profit a ton off of this kid, but
it makes sense though.
Yeah, but take this kid and say, hey, look, we will take care of all your ticket sales. We will take care of all your, your social media stuff for you. We'll take care of getting you shirts, getting your shirts ready for you to sell so you can profit 100%. Off of that.
100%.
Also, we're going to throw,
Yeah, because being a fighter is more than just fighting.
Exactly.
Like, they make their money off of sponsors. I don't think that's what a lot of these young athletes realize.
No, and they're missing the boat on this. If
you
if you're going to have Zach on there,
showing up to
if
the
you're going to have,
reason you make money as a fighter, like, because you look in the UFC or like Bellator or Pride or any of these guys, right?
Yeah.
Why does one fighter get paid more than another? Because he's got the hype and he knows how to market. Like Conor McGregor knows how to market.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He knows how to sell. He's a hustler.
Take a guy like Zach, which hopefully you'll have him on the podcast. He can explain the tickets. That guy's one of the top selling ticket sales guys that they have. Like that guy sells so many tickets. That last fight that he had, that he lost his title, that I'm sure he'll tell you about on the podcast.
Sure.
I'm excited. He ended up calling the day of the fights. They were sold out. It was a sold out. The bar was sold out. I don't know how Kevin ended up getting it done, but he called and said, "Hey, I need like 20 extra table seats." That's one of his sponsors and had wanted 20 seats at one of the tables last minute. And Kevin's like, "You're shitting me."
He should have, because
he's a sales guy. He gets it. He's also an entrepreneur. He has 2 businesses, so he gets that aspect. But most of these guys don't. They don't get it.
It's amazing, man. When I started learning about that, it's really about sales and marketing yourself. Like, do you know how to get your name out there? Do you know how to appeal to the people you want to appeal to, and who do you want to appeal to? And I think that's so on point that I hope the young fighters pick up this. Young fighters, young entrepreneurs, young small business owners, that they pick up on this, that you can't sell anything if no one knows who you are.
Exactly. And honestly, it's probably the thing that's held me back with my damage plan is I'm not very, that's probably the one thing that I lack, is that marketing, and that's why I brought Zach on to help me with that. And he has
marketing. You gotta have somebody. I think here's one thing that I've learned. And I get why sales had a bad rap, right? Why no one wants to put salesman in front of their name.
Yep.
I get it. All right. I'm a salesman.
Car salesman in front of their name.
I'm a car salesman. I'm worse than a car salesman, bro. I'm the dude behind the desk. Like, car salesman is bad. The dude making the decisions behind the scenes is worse, right?
You're the wizard.
I'm that dude.
You're like the Wizard of Oz. You're sitting behind your little curtain.
That's right. You can't see me. Anyway, so I get it. But that's what you got to teach small business owners, and you got to teach athletes, anybody who wants to make a buck. You got to teach them how to do it right. It's not a bad thing to be a salesman if you do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ethically be a salesperson, right?
Well,
somebody wants something that I have, and there's going to be a transaction, and we're going to do some sort of transaction.
Yes.
That's beneficial to each of us.
And let's face it, we all love to buy stuff. We all want to buy it. We just don't want to feel like we're sold.
That's right. Everybody wants to buy. No one wants to be sold.
Yeah. We don't want to be sold. So building relationships is a big thing. And
right.
But yeah, I hopefully a lot of these guys, we're giving a lot of these fighters, especially locally, we're giving them a platform to say, hey, when we approach, maybe it's not us getting the sponsors for them, but maybe if it's a fighter we're not managing, they come on there and you can say, hey, look, dude, we have this podcast that you can tell your sponsors that you're going to be in front of 1,500 people or whatever the number may be, It's like, that's going to just get you more money in the long run.
100%. Well, dude, thank you. Thank you for coming on. And let me ask you one last thing. What do you want to leave the listeners with? Whether it's about your business or about maybe the value that they should take with them, or what do you want to leave with them, man?
I just think, business wise, build relationships, don't be afraid, make connections with people. I think that's one of the biggest things you can do as an entrepreneur or small business owner is make connections, man. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right.
And like, I live off of that. Like I tell my wife that all the time. She teases me. She's like, everybody. And it's like, I try to make relationships with everybody.
You got to keep them.
Yeah. And you have to keep them. And
that's amazing.
That's probably, to me, that's one of the most important things for the small business owners. And then, as far as the fitness world, don't believe everything you see.
That's right. That's right.
Just,
You can only believe
if it's too good to be true, it's
is.
not. Yeah.
Yep. You can only, you can't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see.
Exactly.
Right on, dude. Well, we'll do this again, my friend, but it was,
yes, sir, man.
It was great having you on. And, that's it, guys. Damage Plan Athletics for any wholesaling and retailing.
Yes. Wholesaling and retailing.
There you go. And Semper Fit Nutrition. Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you later, man.
Hey, man. Thanks, Dalton. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.